Hope all of your weeks are off to a great start. Another great show on the docket for today's Philadelphia 76ers now. But before we get started, NBA trade season is here. And we know that the Sixers most likely going to make a splash. And when they do, we're going to let you know about it. But in the lead up to the February NBA trade deadline, we're going to keep you in the know with all of the latest reports and rumors out there. So make sure you subscribe and stay updated on the latest Sixers trade talks by hitting that subscribe button down below. And with this video, can we get to 13,500 subscribers? If we don't, the bosses are telling me we might have to cancel the channel. No, they're not, but you should subscribe because we have smart Sixers analysis right here on the show. You don't believe me? Stay tuned in and find out right now. All right, I'm Chase Senior. This is Philadelphia 76ers Now. Appreciate all of you for rocking and rolling with us. The latest Sixers reports, that's what we're getting to on the docket for today's show. They all indicate that the Sixers interested in trading for a backup point guard. We've been talking about the backup point guard position for a couple of weeks and honestly a couple of months because it has become a big need for the Sixers team. Need another ball handler on this Philadelphia roster. Let's kick it to this report from Jake Fischer, NBA Insider. He said the Sixers aren't in a rush to move their draft assets, but they have been conducting due diligence on point guards, though Wizards veteran Tyus Jones does not appear to be on their list. If Philadelphia and Atlanta do discuss DeJounte Morey, a deal probably won't come together until closer to the deadline. The Sixers are not expected to be trade suitors for Zach LaVine as well as Pascal Siakam. Now, that's Jake Fischer talking about Pascal Siakam. But over the weekend, there was some buzz and there was some traction behind Philadelphia indeed being interested and kicking the tires on Pascal Siakam. The familiarity there with Nick Nurse, but there's also some chatter that when Nurse took the Sixers job, he took the job and basically said, look, I don't really want my Toronto guys coming here. I kind of want to start anew with a new organization in a new city. Pat Bev has been solid. There's no doubt about that. And he could still be a member and a factor of this basketball team. I have no issues with him getting run. The defensive tenacity is great. The leadership, the fearlessness, all of those things, very, very valuable. But you can upgrade a little bit there while also still playing Patrick Beverley, who is on the wrong side of aging at this point because he's been playing basketball for a minute here. So you look at some point guard trade targets here. Let's start off with number one, Malcolm Brogdon, former Celtic, now with the Portland Trail Blazers. Some pretty solid numbers this year. Good defensive player. He can shoot the three ball a little bit. He can create a sturdy frame, is injured a lot. This is a classic veteran who could get moved off of a really bad team. Almost 15 points per game, 5 assists, 43% from the floor, and 41% from three. Sixth man of the year last year in 2022-2023 with the Boston Celtics. But as I noted, injuries concern. Hasn't played more than 67 games since his rookie year when he actually won Rookie of the Year over Sixers legend Dario Saric. Expected trade value for him, late first-round pick. What do the Sixers have at their disposal? They have some first-round picks. The Brogdon contract, it's not completely ideal just because of the lack of availability. This year, $22.5 million. Next year, $22.5 million. Then he becomes a free agent after the 2024-2025 season. So I ask you to be the general manager of the 76ers here. Would you trade for Malcolm Brogdon? T for trade, P for pass. Let's hear from Sixers Nation down in the comments section. Another player who I think has had a really solid career, who still has it, a little bit of wiggle, ability to score the basketball, that's Spencer Dinwiddie of the Brooklyn Nets. And this year, 36 games played, 13 points per game, 6 assists. He is not great with the efficiency, and it seems as though one year he's solid, the next year he's not as far as that efficiency goes. 39% from the field, 31.5% from three. And he's just kind of been accustomed to be known as a very streaky shooter who can get hot. And when you look at his career numbers, there are stretches where the efficiency is there. But then he goes into these lulls and hits these cold spots. And when he's cold, very, very cold like he's been this year. Free agent after this year. Reports do indicate that Brooklyn not likely to keep him, and he's going to hit the free agency market. Does have some playoff experience, and when he has played in the NBA playoffs, he has fared pretty well. 28 points per game in the playoffs, or 28 games, total. 14 points per game is what I meant to say. 42.5% from the floor and 40.5% from downtown. So when you think about Malcolm Brogdon, you think about Spencer Dinwiddie. These are ball handlers. These are solid scorers, and they are also veterans who have been in the league for a little while. More targets to get to at that point guard spot, but first, today's 76ers Now is sponsored by Factor. You can get 50% off when you use the code NBAChat50. My running streak now at 248 days. I'm trying to close in and overtake my previous running streak of 300 days, and I need to be able to eat healthy food so that I feel my best. I'm also working a ton, covering the NFL, covering the NBA, and I'm able to do that and accomplish those fitness and health goals with Factor Meals, America's #1 ready-to-eat, delivered straight to your door meal delivery service. And their delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in the new year here. You could skip the grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, these chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals that are delivered straight to your door are bomb, with over 35 meals to choose from every single week, like keto, calorie smart, vegan plus, veggie, and more, plus over 55 weekly add-ons. You got a bunch of options. So one more time, factormeals.com/NBAchat50, 50% off when you use that link in that promo code. Point guard target number 3, Terry Rozier. Terry Rozier with the Boston Celtics, scary Terry. He burnt Philadelphia in a couple of playoff games, and in the regular season, he can really pour it up, and he can score the basketball. This year, he's doing that. Only 26 games played for him, but the numbers very, very solid here. 24 points per game, a tick under, 7 assists. And this is another streaky offensive player who this year has some pretty solid field goal and three-point numbers, 46% from the floor, almost 37% from three-point range. When he gets hot, he's really hot, can finish around the rim, can get to the cup, little mid-range pull-up, and knock down some triples as well. While LaMelo Ball was out, because LaMelo Ball continues to have a lot of injury issues, unfortunately, because he's a special player. 25 points per game, 8 assists, 46% from the floor, 40% from three. Keep in mind that Charlotte Hornets team, terrible, awful. So on a quality team, Terry Rozier isn't going to put up those numbers, but he's asked to do that because he's playing on probably the worst team in the entire NBA. His contract is under team control for the next 2 years after this, and he's kind of in line with that Malcolm Brogdon type of contract, the DeJounte Murray type of contract. This is why I like DeJounte Murray, because you might be paying him around the same salary of a Brogdon or a Terry Rozier, less than $25 million next year, and then $26.5 million after that. Do you think that he would be a good fit on the Sixers? Just simply type Y for yes or N for no. Myself and producer Chip, we always go back and take a look at your comments to see how the thoughts are brewing. And how about this name to round things out at number 4? Markelle Fultz, #1 draft pick for Philadelphia, was a bust. But for him, honestly, able to overcome that mysterious shoulder injury, which forced him to not play at all for Philly. He got traded away for James Ennis to the Orlando Magic. You got no returns from him, but Fultz has ended up being a pretty solid player. Still can't really shoot the three-point shot, but that Magic team is a little bit too loaded at that guard spot, and that's why Fultz could be dealt. He could get to the hoop. Coming out of Washington, he was the best prospect in the NBA draft, and then he got the yips. He suffered some mysterious shoulder injury. Some people say that he ran into a tree on an ATV accident. I'm not sure if we're ever going to know how a player with that talent at Washington, 3-level scorer, dynamic playmaker, got taken over by the Monstars in Space Jam, and then he lost all of his ability to play basketball. But again, with the Magic, he's played a little bit better. Mark Stein with the latest on Fultz here, who this is a site that makes a lot of people sick for sure, because the threesome of Fultz, Ben Simmons, and Joel Embiid was supposed to be the one that was a part of this organization for a long time. Orlando is said to be exploring the trade market for Markelle Fultz, who is playing on a $17 million expiring contract. Forget everything that happened with Fultz. Let's look at the player that he is now. And I understand. I'm part of it, right? It's hard to get over what happened in Philly. But his career with Orlando, you didn't expect this to happen when he was with the Sixers, when he couldn't even shoot and lift his arm. 12.5 points per game, 5 assists, pretty good defender because he always has that long wingspan. 48% from the field. That's not bad. 27.5% from three. That is bad. Limited minutes this year in that crowded Orlando backcourt, as I was talking about. Still has those shooting limitations, but a solid scorer and a playmaker who can knock down some shots from the mid-range, but still just has no confidence in that shoulder or that shooting form or that three-point shot, but at least he's taking some now as compared to when he was in Philly. Solid defender who's not going to turn the ball over. Backup point guard, not bad. Is he going to live up to the expectations of being that number one pick when the Celtics fleeced the Sixers and they took Jason Tatum, better player? Yeah, no, but a solid backup point guard nonetheless. So with that, pick one, Malcolm Brogdon, Terry Rozier, Spencer Dinwiddie, Markelle Fultz. You want a backup point guard for this team, and among the options that we discussed on today's show, who are you rolling with? As you go down to let us know, please make sure you subscribe to us here on Philadelphia 76ers. Now, if you're an Eagles fan, we'll be live for this wild card matchup tonight. Eagles, Bucks, go Birds.